So let's get real. What I have learned about this whole experience, things that have grinded my gears, I feel like if you are not in tune with yourself, if mental health is not a big topic that you discuss often, if spirits and Christianity is not something you discuss often, it might not be the section for you or might go over your head. But then again, maybe you will understand. But it's more my take, I guess, dealing with toxic people. I've been more open with talking about mental health and being a black sheep and toxic parental influences and all that type of stuff. I've been more open about that in my blog. I'll put that across the screen and also in the description box. But we had a sermon Sunday at church, and it really spoke to things that were already in my spirit when it came to how am I digesting and interpreting my pregnancy experience. So a major thing that I have learned during this time and have experienced is just to let your pregnancy journey be your own. Social media is all just an algorithm, so what you really search for and what you consume, it'll give you more of. I think sometimes you just have to weed out the negativity and train your algorithm to give you what you want to see. I feel like I've really done that. I searched a couple things, not even knowing that it was going to literally vomit all that stuff back at me, and I'm really grateful for it. My TikTok feed is pretty helpful and healthy, and there's not too many videos that I have to be like, okay, I'm not gonna consume that. There was a video and a girl was stating something that I could very much relate to, and I was like, man, I didn't know other people were experiencing this. Weddings, funerals, pregnancies, graduations, those big milestones, I find that people think they are entitled. I feel like the only thing that you are entitled to really is your opinion, and even then in some cases your opinion was never solicited. It was never asked for. I didn't send for it. And I find that people become entitled, especially to depending on the relation that you have to the honoree. They're owed a certain thing. I feel like for those types of events, there are people that can be in your circle that feel like they are entitled to more than just their opinion. A seat at the table, visitation, let me do this for you, let me help you with this, things like that. Information, even knowledge about your next steps, what you plan to do, what is this gonna be like. And I find that you have to make your journey your own, and sometimes protecting your peace has to click into overdrive when it comes to a wedding or a pregnancy or anything that you hold dear to yourself. That has been one of the biggest things that I've learned. Kind of had the sentiment beforehand. I always talk to myself, always talk to my husband like, oh, when it's our time, or when this and that, because we always saw it coming. But the girl was actually talking about how it was shocking to her that she was getting this emotion or this feeling that not everybody is happy for you when you win. And if you grow up in this rose-colored glasses type of world, like I did, in my brain I would be like, if I'm happy for you, you're happy for me. If they're happy for me, I'm happy for them. And you start to realize there's just beings and spirits and attitudes and nasty unhealed traumas out here that are going to make that statement not true. And you start to grow up and realize it's not black and white. You start to realize it's not hunky-dory, it's not unicorns and rainbows. There are some people that genuinely just don't want the best for you. They just want knowledge, they just want control, they just want to protect their image. They just want to do what's comfortable for them, what's beneficial for them. And that is something to heed when you get to a milestone in life. I am just enjoying this journey. Like, I cannot explain it enough. The only times I feel like I've had hiccups or bumps in the road is I feel like certain people have tried to make it not pleasant. by being invasive, overbearing, controlling. But other than that, like, there's nothing that you can allow to penetrate you, to penetrate the walls, the protection that you have put up for yourself and your child, that will allow you to have a bad pregnancy journey, one that is not filled with love and peace. You have to surround yourself with things and people that make you smile and make you the happiest and most at peace. And that means not coming to every event, if that means not talking to certain people, if that means that it just so happens sometimes I talk to some people less, or I told this person about this symptom or this experience I was having and I didn't tell this person. I think we have to stop walking around, and I just feel like that's an end of times thing. God warned us about that, how people are just gonna be offended out the ass for no reason as time progresses on in life. But I find that you have to let people just have their emotions from a distance. The well-being of your child comes first and foremost. I think people kind of assumed that I'm young. Like, I feel like a lot of people can assume because of your age, your status, or what you've needed help with in the past, or how they view you is how they treat you going forward. And a lot of people are having a hard time accepting how I view myself and where I stand, that you're an adult now, you're a mother now. You can't let people tell you how you're going to do your life and your journey. It will strip the joy from it if you allow people to strip the joy from your journey. It will sadden you if you allow people to strip the joy from your journey. So I went into it with that mindset. I have kept up my boundaries and my stance as I go along, and it has served me, okay? It has benefited me. Going into a little bit of my personal testimony, I left a toxic job to follow my dreams of having an art business, working for myself, listening to myself. I make my own off days. I choose my own clients. And I feel like I did not have the courage to do that. I did not walk that hard journey to allow people to continue to dictate my journey. So that has been just such a reward and a blessing. And it's a hard road to walk, but it's gonna serve you. And the joy that you experience looking back on your journey and not remembering negativity about it, I think that you'll be grateful from the decisions that you've made to protect you and your spouse and your child and your household, because that is ultimately your job, to protect your child and put them first and make sure that they're good. And to do that, you got to make sure you're good. So yeah, that's the biggest thing that I've learned. And not to get too deep, but I think that sometimes people don't go deep enough and they're afraid to say certain things and are afraid to who's gonna see it, who's gonna have an opinion on it, and all of this stuff. It's my journey and my story, and I feel like if anything were to ever come out on any blog or any platform that I have, and people are frightened about that, and you're afraid to share your story, you're afraid to share some of the things that you see in your dynamic growing up because you think it might offend someone. And I get it, like, you never want to just, in not a concise way and not a helpful or beneficial or constructive way, share your testimony or your story. And I feel like as long as it's constructive, as long as it's truthful, and you feel like it's going to help someone else and it's helping you, I have no problem sharing. And if there's anyone that is offended at your truth, they maybe should have treated you better. I could not be happier. I'm not saying that it's easy, but he has graced you for it all, and it's nobody but God. Nobody but God.